Family Leonardo, me Nasiladi on Multimedia, the CEO Voice of Salon. Today I come for talk to now, my family, make una continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel and share to our friends them. As we always try to bring on the latest news what they happen around Salon, whether be politics or any other news them, what they happen or gossip, what they bring out to una live and direct. So please, my family, don't forget to subscribe and share to our friends them. You wanna touch the bell icon so that you no miss any video we will try for bring out to una. So that's also we want make una don't forget also for subscribe to we TikTok channel on TikTok and also on Facebook or Facebook page or the Voice of Salon or also the on Instagram Voice of Salon, please family. And don't forget to share. Okay, thank you now. Tata.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل وجعلنا من بين أيديه سدا ومن خلفه سدا فعصيناهم فهم لا يبصرون توكلت على الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله رمضان مبارك السلام عليكم يا جماعة والمسلمين والمسلمات. Shalom to we Christian brothers and sisters, both home and in the diaspora. This is the golden voice of the APC Encyclopedia, the Britannica, the socio-political analyst, the voice of the voiceless, the whistleblower, the lion of the social media, the regional publicity secretary Southern region under the ticket of the mighty, indomitable All People's Congress Party. Forward ever, backward never, until the prize is won. For in the cause of the people, the struggle continues unabated. No retreat, no surrender, until the prize is won. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, comrades all over the globe, as we all know, say, the encyclopedia media always embark on civic education for continue for educate, inform, sensitize, conscientize, and raise awareness to we people now we lovely and daily Mama Salon on daily happenings and on burning issues. So we'll stay tuned, we'll stay fixed, we'll stay blessed, we'll stay connected to the encyclopedia media for uno listening pleasure is absolutely guaranteed. TGIT, thank God today na Thursday, when na February 26th, 2026. Today, na the sukublai and the basket. Now, one green topic we get, we dey present today to we people there, but get boku yam inside. We topic today, ladies and gentlemen, na political and psychological trickery in the power politics. Ladies and gentlemen, this encompass deception, it encompass propaganda, it encompass disinformation, it encompass manipulation, where they pose severe danger to democratic institutions and individual mental well-being. Now, any democratic nation, by internationally distorting reality, and then tactics they are, then they erode trust, then they foster polarization, and they lead to societal instability or personal psychological distress in nation. The political dangers and the consequences of trickery, trick politics. Number one, it causes what we call the erosion of democratic trust. Politicians then they lie, then they undermine the confidence in democratic institutions where they lead to disengagement and the cynicism among citizens It causes what we call societal polarization, deception, and propaganda. It often spread via social media boosting, increase polarization, anger, and division in a society, ladies and gentlemen. Disinformation and misinformation adversaries there, enemies there in politics. Then they use false information for destabilize, for manipulate public opinion and influence elections. Support for violence, conspiracy theory and propaganda. Then they normalize extreme views them, where they foster prejudice against minority and they increase support for violent actions. Poor decision making, where leaders then they rely on self-deception or filter rubbles, and they result in poor, non-evidence-based or disastrous policies. The post-truth environment. Modern deception technique then, short as repetition and appealing for partisan identity, it make it easy for dishonest acts there for be excused even when they are known to be false. When I win elections, they will not deceptively say, no, Lord, move on, and encourage fraud elections to 2028. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, the psychological dangers and the consequences of tricky politicking. It cause what we call cognitive dissonance and anxiety. What did this mean to we listeners then? This that they maintain lie for require significant mental efforts then, where they lead to cognitive dissonance and chronic anxiety for both the deceiver and the deceived. Ladies and gentlemen, it undermine what we call autonomy. Fellow listeners, psychological manipulation, short as gaslighting or propaganda, it treats individuals there as tools rather than rational agents then they violate the ability for make informed choices. Now, any democratic society, where they lead to emotional distress, where then they subject people then to deception, then they induce the feeling of anger, embarrassment, confusion, and lower self-esteem. It causes destabilization to dishonesty, repetitive exposure, or the use of lies. They reduce the psychological cost of lying. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, comrades all, they encourage further, more severe deception, and they cause what we call paranoia and alienation. The exposure to conspiracy theory, it leads to the feelings of alienation and the distorted view of the social world. The core mechanism of trickery politics. Now the 4D approach. Disinformation agents then, they often use a strategy like one, then they dismiss accusation. Two, then they distort facts. Three, then they destroy the truth. And number four, then they dismay the public. Now that's the occur today. Under the pauper, trickery, and rikisi and dabaru politics na Mama Salome. The repetition. For repeat falsehood, they make them more believable over time. They cause what we call truth bias. People then get an inherent tendency for believe others there, where they manipulate and exploit the citizens. But other people there, they stand for the right, then they stand for the democratic principles. The mitigation strategies for combat them threat here, it require for improved psychological resilience, enhance critical thinking skills then, and develop inoculation of technique then for expose individual then, where the weak informs them of propaganda for build resistance na a society. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, trickery na the use of dishonest method, deceit, or cunning deception for dupe for cheat, for manipulate others then, for personal gain, or for achieve a specific, often unethical goal. This they encompass acts like fraud, subterfuge, and skill manipulation, short as in magic tricks or political. The key aspects of trickery, trick politics. The definition, this is dishonest action were intended for mislead. Trickery is synonymous to deception, to chicanery, to skullduggery, subterfuge, artifice, guile, and duplicity. Listeners, comrades all, both home and in diaspora. The context, it refers to a financial fraud, political manipulation, or even a light-hearted, skillful illusion, political maneuvering, double dealing, and acting contrary to a professed attitude, hanky-panky, improper behavior, or trickery. Now, a nation, ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, comrades on both home and the diaspora, waiting at the common with the state looters, political party today, and waiting common among them, ladies and gentlemen, and the law enforcement agency, now what we call the noble cause perjury. We listeners, thank you. Want to know what in the noble cause perjury? This now when a witness, sometimes law enforcement, prosecutors of a government, they lie or they exaggerate facts there because then genuinely believe say the accused is guilty and that the lie is necessary for ensure say then convict the accused with a lie back. This still they undermine the justice system where they base a verdict on fiction rather than truth. The pauper police they arrest you with no offense, and later when you dey in the custody now, now they manipulate, now they catapult, now they fabricate false charges against you just for silence you or for shut you down, as they do with comrade, the APC body street PRO, Mr. Mohammed Moriba, when a judicial bias or misconduct. What did this mean to we listeners then? The actions by magistrates then, judges then, short as the intentional framing of the law for achieve a desired outcome, for allow personal biases, for influence a ruling, they represent a significant way where justice will be undermined na any civilized society or a civilized nation from within the system, what we call the miscarriage of justice. What did this mean to be listeners then? Miscarriage of justice, this they occur when unfair outcome they result in a criminal or a civil proceeding, short as the conviction of an innocent person. And then factors they are, they include deliberate misconduct by police or prosecutors then, or perjury by witnesses. So what is Salone? Mr. Salone, we comrade na Ghana, say about the police of Sierra Leone, not to know lie. Time they come, where they want to invite any citizen, they go there. Ladies and gentlemen, because we know say, ladies and gentlemen, we are in criminals then. They make the laws and enforce the rule. You no go ever get justice there. Ladies and gentlemen, now how we see somebody go na the Bo Mini Stadium, he praise the good work of former President Nkrumah. This current Inspector General of Police send people and go arrest her. Ladies and gentlemen, just for praise the Bo Mini Stadium, then circumvent her, then thwart her, then manipulate her, then catapult false allegation for her. Then jail that boy day for 8 months imprisonment when Michael Magba Mansari for Panadol and relief tablet. We be say the man, he just go prisoner stadium, the video evidence ide. We na a dangerous threat to justice in criminal cases. This then call the noble cause perjury. Na in the work today na mama salon. This na the bad tricks then of the regime protection police force. We don't get today Sierra Leone police force. We don't get today Sierra Leone military. All the state security apparatus, now the pauper regime, then they protect and go against the citizens. When then they pay them the monthly salary from the taxpayers, ladies and gentlemen. Then they pervert the cause of justice, ladies and gentlemen. You they tell the truth, and then they change your testimony to a lie, just for letting them jail you unlawfully and arbitrarily, ladies and gentlemen. And we get 3 rules of justice. Waiting at the 3 rules of justice to release us there. Number 1, we get independence. Any judiciary for independent. Nobody not for remote control there. We get impartiality. The judiciary not for be biased to anybody. If they see the truth, would I get the truth? When I get the truth, would I get it wrong? When I get the wrong. And integrity. The judiciary forget integrity. They forget moral standard. Therefore, know what's wrong and what's right. They're not for twist justice. They're not for pervert justice. They're not for deal with person because of in tribe, because of in political affiliation. But today, the 3 rules of justice, they don't compromise when are independent, impartiality, and integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, we not get independent judiciary, we not get an impartial judiciary, we not get a judiciary with integrity today. That mama alone. All in the listen to others from the above. This now an affront to justice. Waiting this mean to release us there. Ladies and gentlemen, legal something where they undermine the legal system for tamper with evidence, for bribe a judge, or for use political influence, for persuade a judge, for twist the fact on a case. Now an affront to justice. Today, the 4 types of justice they don't politically compromise them. They don't contaminate them. They don't pollute them. They don't vitiate them by the pauper state looters, political governments, and mama alone. Today, we don't know what in a distributive justice. Distributive justice, they determine would I get voting. Waiting belong to Caesar, when I get to Caesar. But today, because of we get a compromised judiciary, there is no distributive justice where they determine would I get voting. You come to the second justice, when are the procedural justice, where they determine how fairly people are treated with respect and dignity. Today with procedural justice, ladies and gentlemen, it don't become on procedural justice, selective justice, brigade justice, jungle justice, and mob justice to the people of Sierra Leone. Then they treat Sierra Leoneans with no respect and dignity. We get what we call number 3, when are the retributive justice. Retributive justice based on punishment for wrongdoing. When somebody do wrong, now for punishment, but you see people then come out, then go na Tonkolimba, then kill, then go na Makini, then kill, then go na Mashaka, then kill, then go na Ma 91, then kill, then go na Masengbe, then kill, then go na Lonshar, then kill, then Kana Tombo, then kill, then go na Kamakwe, then kill, August 10, then massacre citizens there, September 11, then massacre citizens there. Prisoners there, where they unlock in solitary confinement, then come out and go meet them, massacre them, ladies and gentlemen. They kill us there, then they go free with impunity, unpunished, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean. So there is no retributive justice where based on punishment for wrongdoing, because the integrity of the judiciary has been compromised. restorative justice. This they try for restore relationship to rightness. We know they see on today. All the injustice they are today, they don't politicize them, they don't tribalize them, they don't regionalize them with political trickery, selective justice for enslaved citizens then with a CC, then they on the divide. And they don't dance to the dance of the pauper. False accusations known to be forged or fraudulent, they violate the law and they consider as obstruction of justice. When I see the case of the APC, body seat PRO, Mr. Mohamed Moriba, Mombasa, and Red for Red, today's citizens then they judge them wrongfully because of their political belief, because of their political affiliation. You never find truth. We are criminals, make the laws and enforce the laws. Wait till they see. Now selective justice due to political trickery. Ladies and gentlemen, short crimes, ladies and gentlemen, where they lie purposing, where they twist justice, where they pervert justice. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, in any democratic nation, now a felony offense. Ladies and gentlemen, for rubbish the three elements of justice. When are the three major types of justice then? When are distributive justice, corrective justice, and commutative justice? We listeners then can say, what do you mean? The encyclopedia. Corrective justice, this they relate to how individual then for be punished for misdeeds, for wrongs. Ladies and gentlemen, but we see what you don't happen in Mama Salon. All the killings, all the this, that. They said in the set inquiries then. But at the end of the day, cockroach, they know the catcher because they know the serial killers there. Now then they send the killers there. Now then back they investigate the killers there. What you feel? August 10, they do investigation. Cockroach and no cage. Panama Road Prison massacre. Cockroach and no cage. Why the killers then deal? Ladies and gentlemen. And we get, ladies and gentlemen, what we call commutative justice. This is the moral obligation. Forgive another person what he owe. And then they often summarize that as fairness in exchange. So what in due to the president-elect, His Excellency, Dr. Samura Mati Wisin Kamara, must be given to him his due. And what he pauper owe him when at the June 24, 2023, daylight stolen presidential election, he get a commanding lead of 57.15%. Ladies and gentlemen, way over the threshold for be democratically elected as president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean comrades all, both home and the diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, this night they call commutative justice. But ladies and gentlemen, we get today people there where they play tricky politics, where they play conny politics in national politicking, then thief elections without result. And we get what you call the restitution. This now for violate the form of justice, where they create a strict obligation for repair the harm caused. So commutative justice, they often consider as the fundamental, precise, and necessary form of justice for social stability in any civilized society. Ladies and gentlemen, what does this mean to we listeners then? Social stability. This is usually now the other state of a society where characterized by reliable institutions then, predictable norms then, and a lack of significant disruptive conflict where they enable economic growth, social or national cohesion, where they ensure, say, a community or a nation function, maintain cohesion, and meet the member they need over time. This is supported by strong non-corruptive or non-corrupt governance, social inclusion, and often a degree of cultural homogeneity or shared values. The predictability, institutions then, and social rules then they function predictably. They allow individuals then for plan their lives. We get social cohesion when a sense of community trust and a shared, at least accepted norms then in a society. The safety and the trust. A secure environment with minimal social, political, or economic unrest. The governance. The presence of fear, non-corrupt leadership, is critical for maintaining order. We get what we call socialization. Socialization, the process by which society then they pass on norms values, and sometimes political and religious beliefs Homophily. Wetin this mean to we listeners homophily. Now a tendency for let people associate with similar individual where they foster social balance and stability. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, we get a country wherein any side we go, you na a Sierra Leonean citizen. You don't go live in the southeast as a Sierra Leonean because you people then come up from the northwest, then go stay there, then born you there, they at the same time, then they call you Kenyamui. We then call Ilmende a different tribe. Short statement in any civilized society, now a divisive statement and now a tribalistic statement. Now on this verge, Mr. Mohammed Moriba bin stand for let break the bridge of divisive politics and tribalistic politics in this country. Law will not treat political parties then, tribalize political parties there, regionalize political parties there. Mohammed Moriba bin stand for protect Mende people there because he knows say 90% of Mende people there, they belong to the SLPP. Now that he been try for stop so that tomorrow people they not go look the Mende people there as if they're not evil people there. We get good people there and bad people there. Now any tribe. This na the battle where Mohammed Moriba been a fight. But waiting, then try for silence, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans. When a hemophily, a tendency for let people they associate with similar individuals there, where they foster social balance and stability. Fellow Sierra Leonean comrades all, both home and the diaspora. Consequences of instability in any nation. It causes what we call economic disruption. Lack of stability, they deter investment and it increase market volatility. Oh, me pardon can say volatility, ladies and gentlemen. It cause health impact. It lower social stability. We associated with high risks of chronic illnesses and mental issues there in a nation. It increase tension. It increase crime. In extreme cases, revolution. This they call a social conflict. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, ladies and gentlemen, comrades all. So political trickery, it involve manipulative tactics then, where they undermine constitutional processes then for gain political advantage. This behavior, it undermine democratic principle and erosion of democratic integrity, ladies and gentlemen, and ethical governance by exploiting laws then and procedures then for personal or party benefit. This na in the power party do. Manipulative actions then, when they take for distort the constitutional process for political advantage, thereby affecting the integrity of political institutions there and the trust of the electoral. or the electorates then, when are the voters then. So in the broader democratic system, political trickery, political maneuvering, political manipulation, political shenanigan, political stratagem, deception, manipulation, cunning, subterfuge, deceit, fraudulent, and double dealing, they destroy a society, exploiting loss there. Ladies and gentlemen, where they may all don't agree to rules then. Agreement vis-a-vis the tripartite recommendation on the agreement for national unity. Today they try for bulldoze pauperistically all waiting they don't put together for over 6 months for now we get a peaceful and a cohesive society. But this one, now waiting bind we together. Not to that constitution as alone na the bulldozo. This na international law. Na in bind we. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans. So all other state independent democratic institutions then today, they're full of pauper hacks. We listeners think you want to know, waiting at political hacks. Political hack, now a pejorative term where they describe a person who are more loyal to a particular political party than to their own sense of ethics, like the proposed Chief Electoral Commissioner, ECSL, Edmond Sylvester Alpha, were more Catholic than the Pope. Ladies and gentlemen, then they also term them as hired gun, we often use in tandem for further describe the moral bankruptcy of the act. Ladies and gentlemen, we not forget to, we get political hack, and the other term, the hired gun, we often use in tandem for further describe the moral bankruptcy of the hack. Waiting at political manipulation and waiting and call political manipulation. In public relations and politics, spin a form of propaganda, whether they active through knowingly providing a biased interpretation on an event, just like how did they misinterpret, then they misinform themselves about the tripartite, about the constitutional review. Ladies and gentlemen, they say they don't go interview the Chief Electoral Commissioner, not the pauper rubber stamp parliament, with them political manipulation or spin in politics. But we know, say, a thief is always a thief, even dressed in gold. Now, them people we are thief with June 24, 2023 elections. Sierra Leoneans, they not go ever accept them, or rather for impose them on the people of Sierra Leone. Them people are think say Sierra Leone people, then they're stupid. Or now they wangry own Sierra Leone for do whatever pleases them, fraudulently, with them fraudulent behavior, with them pauperistic behavior. Edmond Sylvester Alpha, for account first for the June 24, 2023 daylight stolen election where they conduct 3 years down the lane, no election result for the people of Sierra Leone. Declare a president over 3 years, no election result. So we they call on the ECOWAS, the African Union, the European Union, the United States, the United Kingdom, the United Nations, that their electoral coupists they are, whether they appoint the Southeastern tribesmen there for chief with public elections or they favor this time a recipe for war. These powerful electoral thieves then pay masters then they invite Sierra Leone into another brutal, bloody, deadly, and devastated civil conflict. The powerful Southeast Mede Shabro Wall or Toka, it's a rigged election, they lead to war. So then people are one lead we country to civil unrest. We will not go that direction again. Sierra Leone will don't suffer 11 years rebel war. 2 refugees now other man country. Then they treat we like dogs there. You don't go use the tribes people there for continue for thief the people their mandate, for thief the people their vote, conduct elections, no result, impose on ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, where the election result owner announce it not reflect the will of the people. Civil society, na Sierra Leone, headed by Marcela Samba, where they get over 80 civil societies the way they under them. When are the elections watch, then condemn the June 24, 2023 election. Say it was brazenly stolen. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, a commodity back, the Carter Center, when are they hold the world democracy, they say the tabulation of election result for fraud, and the election result were they announced by the pauper ECSL Santi Bocat of the Southeast, it not reflect the will of the voters. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, the most powerful countries then are the whole world, when are the European Union, they say the elections then fraud, then violence, thuggery there, killing there, then they disenfranchise people there, then they marginalize people there, then they victimize people there, and then say the election result is full of mathematical, improbable, and statistical inconsistencies. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean communists all, both home and the diaspora. So if anybody there like a nation, you dey work according to your manifesto, you say you don't do your manifesto from 80%, you don't need for go to arrest people them more. You don't need for go to jail people them more. You don't need for go to kill peaceful protesters them more. Ladies and gentlemen, so they are gonna allow the chat committee for appoint commissioners there and the chairman of the PPRC for law we get feature free, fair, credible, transparent, and competitive elections of international best practice. Ladies and gentlemen, with a victory where they reflect the will of the people. Let's not forget, Sierra Leone a constitutional democracy and enshrined in Section 5, subsection 2, paragraph A of the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone. They say it is accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people of Sierra Leone, from whom government, through this constitution, derived all its powers, authority, and legitimacy. So democracy, not a pauper. Democracy, not a fair process through the ballot box. Ladies and gentlemen, now the power of the people. Say if una think say, when I go thief election, ladies and gentlemen, now again, or the election when I don't thief, when I go scot-free, you are daydreaming. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, now make the pass say, Roswope, Ramaswop, ladies and gentlemen. What we need now Sierra Leone, now the cube rule in politics. C-U-B-E, cube, R-U-L-E, rule, cube rule in politics. We listeners think you want to know, encyclopedia, waiting at the cube rule in politics. The cube rule in politics, or the cube law, now an empirical observation where they regard elections there under the first past the post system. The rule they suggest say the party where they get the most voters there will be overrepresented. And conversely, the party where they get fewest votes there, it go underrepresented. Ladies and gentlemen, for God's sake, Sierra Leone not they at war. Why then they can impose a proportional representation system when an archaic warring day electoral system? Where Sierra Leone not they at war again? How for become a political thinker? Apart from formal education, for gain political experience through internships then, for a role in public relations, causes then, and develop robust professional network then, they significantly enhance the chances of becoming a successful political strategist. We don't study the style, the behavior, and the way how SLPP they thief elections from political independence to date. Now, with ABN His Excellency the President-elect Dr. Samura Matthews in Kamara for say, enough is enough. We no more tolerate rigged election or stolen elections. Mama Salon. We don't tolerate toxic leaders again in this country. We people in Kiwan know whether not a toxic leader. Now somebody where they abuse the leader-follower relationship by leaving the group or organization in a worse condition, like what the EBK do, and in brown envelope on progressive executive day. Toxic leaders then, they create an environment where go be detrimental to the general membership. No more abuse of power or abuse of authority in the form of malfeasance in office or official abuse of power. When at the commission of unlawful act done in an official capacity where they affect the performance of official duties. We say no more to vendetta politics. The golden rule in politics say, treat others as one would like to treat them, positive or directive form. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow listeners, comrades all, both home and the diaspora, waiting at the strongest indication of intelligence. We get 12 scientific link indication of intelligence. 1, na insatiable curiosity. 2, na open-mindedness. 3, na thoughtful silence. 4, na high adaptability. 5, na strong self-control. 6, na the ability for acknowledge fault. 7, na a knack for wit. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. A knack for wit, na the correlation between humor and intelligence. Number 8, na high creativity. Number 9, na strong self-identity. Number 10, na diverse interest. Number 11, na preference for solitude. And number 12, na empathy and emotional sensitivity. We get the 4 political skills there. The number 1 skill, na social astuteness. The number 2 skill, na interpersonal influence. The number 3, na social networking. And number 4, na the apparent sincerity. So the greatest political thinker, na Thomas Hobbes, from 1588 to 1679, way best known as the father of modern absolutism, as credited also as the father of modern political science. Ladies and gentlemen, we na Thomas Hobbes. What did they call somebody for become mentally unstable? This is due to childhood abuse, trauma or neglect, social isolation or loneliness. Now they make Boku people then today, they're mentally unstable. We get the 5 R's of abuse. The first R, na recognize. Second R, na respond. Third R, na report. The fourth R, na record. And the fifth R, na refer. So we get recognize, respond, report, record, and refer. So from a comprehensive framework, we're essential for protect vulnerable individuals in a society. Pauper no go ever again abuse with political, with constitutional, and with democratic rights there again. Namama Salon. Enough is enough of this political madness. And we want the state root as political party for no say. The power of the people is greater than the people in power. This is a philosophy where they highlight say collective actions and civic engagement, they overturn authoritarian regime then, and they drive social change and hold leaders accountable. This principle is famously illustrated by movements then, like the Egyptian Revolution, which shows say organized masses then, they overpower, establish even brutal authorities. Collective action and social media. Digital platforms then don't enable rapid widespread organization for challenge authorities then, as seen in the 2011 Egyptian uprising. Diverse method then. People's power, they manifest through boycotts, protests, memes, civil disobedience, and political campaigns. Now, make we don't take the political campaign on the media for educate, inform, sensitize, and conscientize with people in the Mama Salon for the democratic and the constitutional rights. And that Sierra Leone belongs to every one of us. It belongs to all of us. Not to SLPP one great against Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is for all Sierra Leoneans. Therefore, we demand democratic accountability. Democratic accountability, they emphasize, say, government forget a driving authority from the people, and if aligned to the people, by the people and for the people, then democratic ideal. Democracy, not a government of some people, by some people, and for some people. Democracy, not the government of one tribe, one region, one political party. Democracy, not the government of some tyrant, by some tyrant, and for some tyrant. Democracy, not the government of some thieves, by some thieves, and for some thieves. Democracy, not the government of some pauper, by some pauper, and for some pauper. Democracy, not the government of some unscrupulous, by some unscrupulous, and for some unscrupulous citizens. Democracy, not the government of some tribe, for some tribe, and for some tribe. Ladies and gentlemen, let SFP stop for beat the drums of war. Now they come with 11 years rebel war. Now this country, we kill over 50,000 Sierra Leonean citizens. Where AFRC overthrow the government, kill thousands of people there, paramilitary intervention. They say Alec na fall left, then the ruler. Now they want grain sabi the right. Other people they not sabi the right. Oh, now they want grain get right. Oh, now they want grain get Sierra Leone. This time around, we say enough is enough. Now then same people we are going to bush for 11 years. Can't kill over 50,000 people. They accuse the Sheki and the Momo government of corruption, mismanagement, selective justice, nepotism, unemployment, bad governance, and lack of transparency and accountability. Now when they don't come na power for 7 years, they don't kill over 10,000 people. They don't jail over 5,000 people. Ladies and gentlemen, 303 political prisoners there, where they incarcerate unlawfully, they're not able to give account of them. Now they're in custody. You don't go conduct election, coronate yourself without election result, and yet when they continue for provoke the people there. When I not go conduct election, bend the rules then, manipulate the rules then, trick the people then, ladies and gentlemen, chief election and tell we say election result now a classified document. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans. So, now we call on we moral guarantors them, the international community, the Western world, the democratic nations them, for let them stand firm, let them act fast with moral guarantors them, that they can mediate to the dialogue and set up a three-way committee where they call the Tripartite Committee on the Agreement for National Unity. Both the APC and the SLPP, they say anything will come out from the Tripartite and illegally binding by international agreement, now international law, for let everybody deviate from the things there where they come with war or civil unrest in the country. Let them follow the election laws there. Let them follow the national constitution in conducting public elections. Ladies and gentlemen, they meet up on 80 recommendations. Ladies and gentlemen, today they bypass the recommendations there. Then they go count it, constitutional review. Then they go count it, Botobata, waiting count the agreement, where the Western world, they spend millions of dollars. They can't waste their time. They count with international experts for no get peace no more in this country, but still them people are not a good chance. Then they push no more Sierra Leone to war. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, thinking say now they want to get this country. They know they follow the rules. They know they follow international agreement. They know they follow international covenant. Sierra Leone is signatory to the United Nations. When we get United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, then they violate citizens' their right. They don't care for international treaties. Sierra Leone are also a signatory for the International Covenant for Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR. No political right. You talk that they arrest you, they jail you. They don't turn the police to a regime protection police force. But at the tell una, the people of Sierra Leone, no be afraid of una Kamajo police there, and una REF, MPRC soldiers there, when una don't give guns there. Now only His Excellency, Dr. Sabona Matiwisin Kamara, hold the peace of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, when another call for peace, when we no want to take responsibility, when another call for peace, when we another give justice to the people there, and there will be no peace without justice. And when they still brag on the election, when they don't thief, when they brag again for thief another elections, when a non-starter. Ladies and gentlemen, when they tell when I say there will be no elections in 2028. If the 2023 elections are not properly addressed. When I count with more guns, when I count with more ammunition, for the power of the people is greater than when I will thief power and they ride the people there on a stolen mandate. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the 1992 to 1996 MPRC coup. Not all the people then die. Some then die and some then left for tell the story. We get the FRC coup from 1997 to 1998. Not all man die. Some people then die and some then live for tell the story. We get 11 years brutal, bloody, deadly, nasty, and devastating rebel war. Not all man die. Some people then left for tell the story. We get the 1986 in the Bawusu, the Bolate, when are the cutthroat, the Hindu, the Baote, the Ngwengwe, the Jongobla, the 1977. Hindu, ladies and gentlemen. Not all Sierra Leoneans then die. Some people then die, and so they left for tell the story. We get the ECOMOG military intervention in Sierra Leone. We can kill thousands of Sierra Leonean citizens then. Not all Sierra Leoneans then die. Some they left for tell the story. We get the deadly Ebola virus in Sierra Leone. People then die, but not all Sierra Leoneans then die. So they live for tell the story. Today again, the same people then, we're gonna push Nabomaru village, Upper Bambara Chiefdom, Kailahun District, Eastern Sierra Leone, on the 23rd March 1991. Car with 11 years brutal rebel war na this country. Ali Kabaden, na the pass so scot-free. Kwevaya Amarade. Today, na PPRC as a chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, when I come with a set of a dangerous, a disastrous, unprecedented daylight electoral coup, a constitutional civilian coup, a daylight stolen election without result, and yet still, when I want to impose on ourselves on the people, when I ride the people on the stolen mandate, when I exploit the people with taxes there, petrol they go down all over the world. Petrol they go up every day. Transportation they go up. No better electricity, no medical, no nothing. Nothing no they go on at the country. We youth then they die of an imported killer drug called kush. Ladies and gentlemen, with democracy, they don't backfire, they don't manipulate her, they don't thwart her, they don't circumvent her, they don't undermine her, they don't undersweat her. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, This could be the end, the first and the last for conduct election, for thief elections then, for thief the people then vote at the Republic of Sierra Leone. This is not the reason why then people here hate the word where they call protest. Then people here hate the word where they call opposition. If you are afraid of the heat, don't go to the kitchen. For no one opposition, we are not kind of democracy. What we are doing in opposition, now government in waiting. Wait time can we not kind of power. Likewise, other people then their opposition, now government in waiting. But today, when I turn when our political opponents there as enemies them, when they arrest them, when they victimize them, when they incarcerate them, when they torture them, when they kill them, when I seize them dead body there from their family and their loved ones there, when I go bury them in mass grave like puppets or cockroaches. When I call them democracy, they when I say when I land book, most kind book when I land. Now destructive politics when I land. Now democidal politics on our land for can kill one of fellow citizens there. Ladies, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean comrades all, both home and the diaspora. Now make una take the guns there, una give una Kamajo police there, now the southeast, una give una Kamajo soldiers there, now the southeast. Now Guinea there, they take we country so by parts. They don't all Yenga. Bogodo will not do. Some parts na do by boy do yanda. They don't all day. Bogodo will not do. Look back what they do. Na Falaba. Na Kayere. Ladies and gentlemen, see how they molest with security apparatus there. See how they molest with soldiers there. Go take them, put them on the ground. They sit on the karande. They treat them like puppets with no respect, with no dignity. Because the state security apparatus, not they respect the people of Sierra Leone, they not they give the people of Sierra Leone dignity. That hacker they make so. They say that they go maltreat them so. Let them know say heart. When they treat citizens with respect. And when they live in a democratic nation, when a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, when I hate the people there, when I tip the people they vote, when they marginalize the people there, when they victimize the people there, when they dehumanize the people there, when they use criminal tricks there, tricky politics for suffer the people of Mama Salone. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean comrades all, kill protesters then, because the guns they did now in a hand. But let me tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, we go resist peacefully, democratically, and constitutionally to dictatorship, to political tyranny, to autocracy, to totalitarianism. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leoneans, authoritarianism, the Mende hegemony, and the Kamajo junta democracy. Peacefully, democratically, constitutionally. Una can na power through democratic means. Not to the gun una use so. So when they come back na power through democratic and constitutional means, we they continue on with advocacy, and we they continue for talk to the people of Sierra Leone, and the people go resist tyranny peacefully, democratically, and constitutionally. The one they will kill thousands of Sierra Leonean citizens because of them belong to Paupa, that they go so with impunity from 2018 to date. But let me tell you, we're not able to kill everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, some people then go live for tell the story. But with democracy, go be restored and the rule of law. The restoration and the rule of law, that Mama Salo, is inevitable, unavoidable. When I can have power through democratic means in 2018, they hand over power to Wuna peacefully through democratic means, through constitutional means, even though now 103% they say a regime change, but the people of Sierra Leone accept because of peace. We get the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So they call on the ECOWAS, the African Union, the European Union, the United States, the United Kingdom, the United Nations for act fast, for prevention is better than cure. preventive mechanism for be the best option. This illegitimate regime, where they rule the people of Sierra Leone with iron fist, can they close mosques there? They restrict people their movements there. They exploit people there with taxes. They go and broke people there, buffer there, they kiosk there, they marketable there. They close the river for let people there not go fishing, let people there not survive. But then they survive, ladies and gentlemen, as if Sierra Leone, now their own family property, or now their great grandpa there, now they get Sierra Leone. Then they strangulate the survival of thousands of Sierra Leonean citizens, where they live on fishing, where they live on petty business. Ladies and gentlemen, they can then cancel a one-old Mama Cargo International Airport for a single terminal, only for enslaved. We only Lunge International Airport to Turkish drug lord. Now again, they want for sell Juba Barracks to a Lebanese drug lord for opening a cartel day, then build a this that day, because the gold, the diamond, the bauxite, the iron ore, the rutile, the titanium oxide, the chromite, the ammonite, the limonite, the oil, in order for them. But now for cow drugs again, where they can kill with people there, where they dent with international image. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Sierra Leonean comrades all, but would they buy that Juba barracks when government change hands? That buyer day, then go charge them for treason. Ladies and gentlemen, sentence them, death by hanging. This, if not the reason this owner remove the death penalty, for kill people, they execute people, they extrajudicially, we go count them back when are the death penalty. Ladies and gentlemen, so when I continue for the treasonous acts there, violate the constitution, violate international agreements there, because power smile on una face. Ladies and gentlemen, when I think say, when I don't abolish the death penalty, what you when I pull, they go count and back. Frenchman say, l'homme qu'il faut, à la place qu'il faut. What men have done, man can still do.